You've been told since the first day of kindergarten that being the best is the goal, that working harder than everyone else is the golden ticket to the life you want, and that excellence is its own reward. You've spent your career polishing every project, staying late to catch the errors others missed, and becoming the reliable anchor of your team. You believe that if you provide undeniable value, the system will eventually have no choice but to recognize your brilliance and hand you the keys to the kingdom. But as you sit at your desk at 7 p.m., finishing the work of 3 people while your colleagues are at happy hour, a cold, quiet realization is starting to settle in your chest. The truth is, your excellence isn't a ladder, it's a cage. By being too good at your job, you haven't made yourself indispensable for a promotion. You've made yourself indispensable for the status quo. You are playing a game where the prize for winning is a heavier burden, and until you learn to dial back your competence, you are going to continue to be the engine that everyone else uses to get to their destination. You've felt the frustration of watching a mediocre peer get promoted simply because they had the time to network, while you were too busy being productive. It's not a mistake. It's a design feature of the corporate world. You are currently the highest performing asset in a department that cannot afford to lose you, and because you are so good at what you do, you have effectively paralyzed your own upward mobility. Think about the last time you solved a crisis that wasn't even your responsibility. You stepped in, it's fixed the mess, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. You thought you were showing leadership, but what you were actually doing was setting a new baseline for your exploitation. In the eyes of your manager, you aren't a rising star. You are a solution to their headaches. And nobody wants to get rid of their best solution. If they promote you, they have to find someone else who can do what you do, and the odds are that person won't be half as efficient. So, they keep you right where you are, patting you on the back with exceeds expectations ratings that come with a 3% raise, while the person who does just enough to stay off the radar is the one they move into the strategic roles. This is the part nobody tells you. Competence is a trap when it's not paired with strategic boundaries. You've treated the office like a meritocracy where the most output wins, but the office is actually a risk management environment. Your boss isn't looking for the best work. They are looking for the least amount of trouble. By being the one who always says yes and always delivers perfection, you've become the safe option that stays stuck in the trenches. You are working yourself to death to prove you belong at the top, but you are actually proving that you are too valuable to ever leave the bottom. The hidden truth that keeps the corporate machine running is the competence tax. This is the invisible penalty where the reward for doing good work is simply more work. If you finish your tasks in 4 hours, a healthy system would let you go home. A corporate system gives you the tasks of the person who took 8 hours. I.e., you think you're building a reputation, but you're actually building a dependency. You've become the person who just gets it done, and in doing so, you've taught your coworkers that they don't have to grow because you will always be there to catch the slack. This is where the deep office politics come into play. Decisions about who gets ahead aren't made based on who is the best at the job. They are made based on who fits the image of the next level. When leaders look for a new director or a VP, they aren't looking for the person who is the best at the technical tasks. They are looking for the person who has the bandwidth to handle the politics. If you are constantly buried in the details of the work because you're too good at it, you look like a worker, not a leader. You've become a victim of your own efficiency. The person who is only decent at their job has the time to walk the halls, to grab coffee with the decision makers, and to position themselves as a strategic thinker. While you were perfecting the spreadsheet, they were perfecting the relationship with the person who signs the checks. You aren't being overlooked because they don't see your work. You're being overlooked because your work is all they see. Deep down, human behavior in a professional setting is governed by the law of least resistance. Your manager has a limited amount of emotional and mental energy. If they have a difficult task, they are going to give it to the person who won't complain and who will do it perfectly. That's you. Over time, this creates a reliability loop that is almost impossible to break. The more you deliver, the more is expected. The more you exceed, the more you are leaned on. You've become a victim of perception locking. The organization has locked in a view of you as the ultimate doer. And in the hierarchy of the office, doers are subordinates, while thinkers are leaders. You've worked so hard to be the best doer that you've convinced everyone you belong in the engine room, not on the bridge. This is the part nobody tells you. Power isn't granted to those who work the hardest. It's granted to those who are seen as the most essential to the future. If you are too busy maintaining the present, nobody thinks of you when they are planning the future. You have to realize that your current approach, being the good student of the office, is actually a form of social suicide. You are waiting for someone to notice your hard work and save you. But in the corporate world, a nobody saves the person who is making their life easy. They just keep using them until the person burns out, and then they replace them with the next good student. The reality shift happens when you stop seeing your job as a series of tasks to be mastered and start seeing it as a social game to be navigated. Your current approach isn't working because you are optimizing for output when you should be optimizing for leverage. You think that being good at your job is the goal, but the goal is actually to be vital but unavailable. And if you are always available and always perfect, you are a commodity. Commodities are cheap and easily replaced. To move from the execution layer to the strategic layer, you have to create a scarcity of service. You have to stop being the person who fixes everything for everyone. This shift in perspective reframes every interaction. You stop asking, how can I do this best? And start asking, who needs to see me doing this? And what is the minimum I need to do to maintain my reputation while freeing up my time? This sounds cynical, but it is the only realistic way to survive a system that is designed to consume your energy. You have to move from being a high-volume asset to a high-value asset. High-volume assets are machines. High-value assets are partners. Subtle solutions to this problem are found in the margins of your workday. It starts with the strategic slowdown. You don't stop being good, but you stop being instant. If a task takes you 2 hours, you don't turn it in after 2 hours. You turn it in after 4. You use that extra 2 hours not to scroll on your phone, but to engage in visibility work. You use it to research the problems your boss's boss is facing. You use it to reach out to a colleague in a different department to understand their workflow. You are reclaiming your time to build a parallel career within your company, one based on influence rather than labor. This is how you change the perception of who you are. You start speaking the language of prioritization rather than compliance. When a new task is dropped on your desk, you don't just say, I'll get it done. You say, I can take this on, but it will mean the project for the VP will have to be pushed back. Which would you like me to prioritize? This forces your manager to see the cost of your labor. It breaks the illusion that you have infinite capacity. It makes you a human being with boundaries rather than a resource with a capacity limit. Communication is the tool you use to build this new reality. You have to move away from the update and move toward the insight. Most people send emails that say, here is the report. The person who is moving up sends an email that says, I've analyzed the report, and I noticed a trend that might impact our Q3 goals. I'd love to discuss how we can pivot to address this. In that one sentence, you've moved from being a report maker to a strategic advisor. You are no longer just doing the job. You are owning the outcome. This is the part nobody tells you. People in power don't care about the work. They care about the results. If you can show them that you understand the results, they will stop caring if you are the one doing the work. You are building relationships based on shared vision rather than service delivery. You want the people above you to feel that their success is tied to your brain, not just your hands. When you become the person who thinks for the department, you become someone they can't afford to keep in a junior role. You are essentially promoting yourself by changing the nature of your conversations. But to do this, you have to be willing to let some balls drop. This is the most uncomfortable part of the process. If you are currently the person who catches everything, people are going to be upset when you stop. There will be friction. There will be disappointed looks. But you have to realize that this friction is the sound of your cage door opening. If you never let a ball drop, nobody will ever believe you are at capacity. You have to strategically allow non-essential tasks to fail or be delayed. This creates the gap that proves your labor has a limit. It forces the organization to realize that they have been relying on your extra effort as if it were standard effort. By being slightly less good at the grunt work, you provide yourself the room to be exceptional at the high-level work. You are moving from being the person who does the thing to the person who ensures the thing gets done. That is the fundamental shift from worker to leader. It requires you to stop being a perfectionist and start being a prioritizer. Perfectionism is a trait of the subordinate. Prioritization is a trait of the executive. As you navigate this transition, your reputation will begin to shift. People will stop calling you for the small fires and start calling you for the big questions. This is where you practice strategic gatekeeping. You become the owner of a specific piece of knowledge or a specific relationship that is vital to the company. You don't hide it, but you make sure that you are the only one who can interpret it. This creates a functional dependency that is far more powerful than any job title. When the leadership realizes that their success is contingent on your cooperation, the power dynamic flips. You are no longer working for them. You are partnering with them. You've moved from the execution layer, where people are replaceable, to the strategic layer, where people are unique. This isn't about being lazy. It's about being calculated. You are spending your energy where it has the highest return on investment for your career, not just the company's bottom line. The truth is, the system isn't going to reward you for being a hero. It's going to reward you for being a player. The hero burns out and is forgotten. The player understands the board and moves to the next level. You have to stop being the good employee and start being the smart actor. This means understanding that your career is a project, and you are the CEO of that project. The company is just one client. If you are over-delivering for one client at the expense of your own long-term growth, you are running a bad business. You have to treat your goodness at your job as a resource to be managed, not a fountain that never runs dry. Use it to buy the influence you need, and then stop. The goal isn't to be the best worker in the room. The goal is to be the person who the workers report to. And you can't get there if you are too busy doing their work for them. The ending of this story is about a change in your vision. Look at your office tomorrow, but don't look at the tasks. Look at the flow of power. Notice who is stressed and who is calm. The people who are the most stressed are usually the ones who are too good at their jobs. The ones who have taken on everyone else's responsibilities because they can't stand to see things done poorly. The people who are calm are the ones who have mastered the art of strategic mediocrity in the areas that don't matter, so they can be brilliant in the areas that do. They've realized that the official rules are a distraction. The real rules are about perception, leverage, and the management of expectations. You can keep banging your head against the formal walls of the company, wondering why you aren't moving forward, or you can start navigating the secret tunnels that the winners have been using for decades. The truth is, the system isn't a machine. It's a tribe. And tribes don't care about your productivity reports. They care about loyalty, trust, and the exchange of value. If you want to hold the real power, you have to stop trying to be the most useful person and start trying to be the most valuable person. There is a massive difference. A hammer is useful. An architect is valuable. You can replace a hammer at any hardware store. But you can't replace the person who knows how to design the building. Stop being the hammer. Stop being the person whose only value is the amount of force they can apply to a nail. Start being the person who decides where the nails go. Awareness of the competence trap is the only way to ensure you aren't the person who stays at the same desk for 15 years, wondering where it all went wrong while you were busy being perfect. Reflect on this. If you were to die tonight, your job would be posted on LinkedIn before your obituary hit the papers. The goodness you are providing to your company is a temporary loan, but the life you are sacrificing for it is a permanent gift. Stop being so good at a job that doesn't love you back. Reclaim your time, reclaim your energy, and reclaim your strategic mind. The world doesn't need more good employees. It needs more people who are brave enough to be slightly less productive, so they can be significantly more impactful. Now that you see the ghost map of the office, are you going to keep walking into the walls of your own excellence? Or are you going to start using the hidden doors? The choice is yours, but remember, the person who works the hardest isn't the one who wins. The person who understands the game is the one who gets to decide how it ends. You've been good long enough. It's time to be smart. Turn off the hero mode and turn on the strategic mode. The office is a board, and it's time you made a move that wasn't just another task on someone else's list. Reflect on the quiet power of saying no to a task so you can say yes to your own future. That is the only promotion that actually matters.